All right, here we go. We are so fresh and so clean. So fresh and so clean, man. This is episode 20 of the Packers Roundtables podcast. Can you believe that, man? I was just thinking actually that we've talked about a whole season of NFL football now, plus multiple weeks of off season. You know, we are a powerhouse podcast. I think.
That's what the people are saying, Andrew. The people are saying that you make it through half the season, you get some momentum. You make it through the off season, you got a real show, you got a real podcast. So we got some work left to do, but 20, we're damn near half the year, man. Like that, we're on good pace.
Yeah, we're doing good. Believe it or not, and I know that the fans out there kind of already have an idea of what we're going to get into today, but believe it or not, we've been talking Packers still. And hold on, let me tell my dog to shut up. I'm going to pause this.
Yeah, hit pause.
So anyhow, a more polished podcast would probably not even recognize a pause in action in a dog barking, but I think we've got the kind of rapport with the people where they know it's just real, man. This is live TV.
I think so. It's as close to live as you're going to get. We're able to hit that pause button. Your dog had some things to say. Your dog was excited too that Rich Bisaccia stepped down, and that there's a lot of Packers things to talk about. So
let's get into it, man. And that's what I was about to say is that we are a couple weeks into the offseason, and we just got news that Rich Bisaccia, who was the special teams coordinator and the assistant head coach of Green Bay Packers, he stepped down. And while I am excited, and Anthony, I'm going to say I'm excited, and I'm not excited because the guy is no longer working. He's old. He's like 65, so hopefully he has a nice retirement, right? So I'm excited. Maybe he can go fishing, do some hunting, do whatever he likes to do. But I'm excited that there's a new direction for the special teams, or there should be a new direction. What I'm not excited about is the timing of this move.
So
let's talk about that first.
Yeah, especially too, Andrew, because this was this wasn't a firing. This was a step down.
Yeah,
he could have done this months ago. Like, when was the last game of the season? January, the second week of January. So waited 5 weeks to announce that he's stepping down. That's a tough draw because every other roster or every other coaching staff's already filled out, even all the new ones. All the new coaches have already filled out their rosters. So he steps down and kind of leaves the Packers kind of holding the bag there. And it's like, all right, now what do you do? Because you're not getting any of the top candidates that you would have a week, 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Right. There's a lot to be said, and I don't know if you saw this, but I wrote an article, and I was pretty happy with the headline. It was called, or the headline, Rich Bisaccia screws the Packers one more time. Because, like I said, God bless the guy. Hope he enjoys retirement or whatever he gets onto. But the timing of this is awful, man, and it makes you wonder too about Matt LaFleur, I think, the head coach. And like, how do you not know that you got a guy on your staff who's your assistant head coach? So supposedly the coach who's right next to you, right? How do you not know that you're in this situation and then he's thinking about perhaps leaving and you don't even back channel something? And maybe the Packers have been having talks with people, but everything I'm saying is this has come out of the blue.
Which like, I think your point is perfect. How is this a shocker to anybody? Like, this is a guy that, you do your exit interviews. Hey, what are you thinking? You're getting a little bit older, 65. Like you said, you thinking of more about, tying a fishing knot or a fishing line, or you thinking more about, trying to fix the punt unit? Like, where's your mind at? And stuff like this at the end of careers shouldn't be a surprise to nobody. It should be a surprise to nobody. And I think, to your point, like, maybe this is like a learning situation for LaFleur going forward, because maybe he sets a deadline where it's like, all right, on January 31st, if you're on the staff, you're on the staff. Like, if you want to resign, that's totally good. You have to do it before, make up the deadline, whatever it may be. Yeah. Because, like you said, they're screwed. They are absolutely screwed. They're 2 weeks late, and now you're scrambling to try to fill that.
And that's not to say that they can't go find somebody. And I'd like to talk here in a minute kind of about maybe the qualities of a coach that you'd want to find in a special teams coordinator. So we can get into that. So it's not to say they can't find somebody, but they're over barrel right now, and really they're going to be scraping the bottom of the chili pot, man, when it comes to trying to figure this out. And again, maybe LaFleur can find a diamond in the rough, right? He can find somebody who could come out of nowhere and, oh my gosh, that he's really turned around in special teams. But that's going to be a tall task. So I want to really quickly just run through some information that came out from Adam Schefter today. So he was responding to, obviously the news that Bisaccia had stepped down, and he said, this is the quote from Schefter. He had thought about doing it last year, apparently.
Okay.
And then here's what and Schefter goes on. He felt like he failed Matt LaFleur last year. Obviously, there were some special teams issues this year. He felt like he failed him last year. He certainly probably felt maybe a similar way this year. So does that add more kind of shade to what's going on here with the head coach?
Yeah. Well, it adds more like, what the hell is this? Like, what the hell is going on? If he was considering it last year and you had to talk him into it and you brought him back and it went poorly, like, we're not breaking news here. I think a lot of people in Packers Nation probably didn't want him back regardless. I
don't know one that did want him back, really.
And so it's like, even there, you're like, all right, he's coming back. I guess it's continuity. And then he dips. Man, I don't know, man. Something's weird there. I don't know if they came to an agreement or, he's taken the fall saying he resigned so they didn't have to say they fired him. Whatever it may be, it feels like the story is incomplete, and that there's more to it because this is all weird. It's just a weird situation.
And I am no Adam Schefter, and Schefter is really good at his job. I will say when it comes to the Packers, he's not as plugged in, I think, to the Packers as he is to some other organizations.
Okay.
But for him to come out and say that Bisaccia was considering leaving last year, that tells me that that's real, because that's not just something a reporter just kind of puts out there. Like that means he had to have heard from a source somewhere that knew that this was on the horizon. So it's bittersweet, right? This whole offseason has felt bittersweet. Like, okay, we're getting a new direction. We're moving forward. But what does it come at the cost of? It's come at the cost of the defensive coordinator going to a new job. And it's come at the cost of this guy resigning and putting you in a bad position.
Yeah, in a part of this era where you're trying to win. We've talked about it a bunch. This team, this roster is all in. This is an all-in roster with Micah Parsons. You ditch a couple first-round picks, all that stuff. All those storylines come to the top, and it's like, oh, okay, this feels like vibes are off right now, and you got to find a way to correct it, and you'll correct it through free agency, through the draft, just to try to get some good momentum going in. But yeah, it feels really odd right now.
Well, here's the hard part, right? You say correct it via the free agency, via the draft. They don't have any money to spend in free agency. They're not even going to be able to sign some of their own people.
Yeah.
And they don't have a first-round draft pick. So you're looking, and none of this ultimately matters, come September, whatever, when the games are actually being played. But you're looking at honestly a terrible offseason, right? You lose 5 in a row. You collapse against your biggest rival in the playoffs. There's this whole will they, won't they? Are they going to re-sign LaFleur or not? They drag it on for a week. Now there's questions, is Jonathan Gannon the guy? We don't know, hopefully, right? But you don't know. And now here we are with another big question mark. It just feels like, they're not going to have that big free agent signing. They're not going to have a first-round draft pick that people can get excited about. Yeah. It kind of feels like they're losing the offseason. Now, I've spent many years as a Packers fan. I'm going to let you talk. But I've spent many years as a Packers fan watching the Bears, let's say, win the offseason, and it never really mattered, right? So you got to find that middle ground. But vibes do kind of matter, right?
It absolutely matter. Like here, let me ask you, as put your Packers fan hat on. Take your unbiased hat off. Put your fan hat on. What does get you excited? Like, what is a move? Is there a move where maybe it's not a player? Maybe it's hey, we trade up in the draft. Maybe it's in the second round. Maybe we draft a receiver. Like, what gets Packers fans excited about? Okay, this is at least something we can hold on to throughout the rest of this offseason to get us to September.
I don't know. I don't know, man. It's kind of a bleak. it feels like running a marathon right now, where you're just
okay.
You're halfway through, and you're like, oh, geez, I've still got to go, 20
Well,
miles.
no, I think that's a good point. Not that you've ever run a marathon before. I mean,
Never. I mean, look at
but it honestly feels like, okay, yeah, let's frame it like this. The splash move was Micah Parsons last year, right? It was a splash move last year, and it's the splash
huge move. Huge move.
And so when pick number 20 pops up, Packers fans should get on their phones and Google the Micah Parsons sack against Jared Goff and go rewatch that, because that's the pick. That's who you picked with the 20th overall pick. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then it's like, all right, this team's kind of like you said, it's kind of maxed out, right? You're maxed out on money, you're maxed out on draft picks. And it does feel a little marathon-y, where not even halfway. I think you're at mile 4 right now, where it's like, oh, the fun part has worn off of the start of the marathon. Now you're looking at, I got 22 miles of this shit. And for Packers fans, it's like, we got, when is September? We got 7 months of this offseason just to get to cleats in the grass, ball flying through the air, trying to win football games. And that's really all you can hold off hope to, I guess.
Yeah. I think really it would not surprise me if there was 2 pushes by the Packers this offseason. Has nothing to do with the draft, nothing to do with free agency. It would not surprise me if there was a push on Micah Parsons making a comeback, like in some of those highlight reels out there of him training and stuff like that. That'll get people jazzed up. And I think they'd be smart to push Jordan Love in the season he had and say, hey, listen, this is the year where he's going to come and he's going to be the Aaron Rodgers, the Brett Favre for this team. And
frankly, Andrew has to. You talk about players having pressure. I mean, we could, maybe this is a topic for another time, but like, look around the league. There's not many guys. It's probably Drake May, because he put up such a stinker in the playoffs. And probably Jordan Love are the quarterbacks who are under the most pressure to go win. Yeah.
I'm going to throw a line out there to Jared Goff over in Detroit too, because I think they have a window that they're trying to kind of get open again. We could talk all offseasons about this kind of stuff. What I want to do, though, is again, kind of dig deeper into special teams here. I don't know what type of nerd you have to be to know, like,
to be our type of nerd.
Yeah, but you're not as nerdy to like, oh, here are 5 names that could replace Rich Bisaccia. You're like, do we know like assistant special team coordinators right now? Like, no. And I know those guys are out there. So kudos to those guys. What I more so want to talk about, especially with your experience as a former player, what do you look for in a special teams coach? I'm going to tell you what I look for, and then I want to hear what you have to say.
You're up first. Yeah.
To me, the number one thing is detail. Yeah. Detail. Find somebody who makes sure, like when you think about when you're blocking for a field goal, all you're doing really is just stepping your inside foot one pace over and kind of leaning to your left. But if you don't do that, or if you don't step, just this far, that's where blocks come from, So I'd love to find a young coach, up and coming, hungry, who could just pound details, man. Yeah. That's kind of what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, I think more so on that point, you have to find a guy who's genuine in his energy, because you see a lot of these special teams guys. The one that stands out to me is a name that people probably know, but Frank Ross from the Houston Texans. Okay. He's a guy that's like flipped, and the Houston Texans have a absolute weapon of a special teams unit, and they use it to win football games. Ross was a coach at John Carroll right before I went there and played. So I know Ross well. And it's like, you watch him and he's the raw guy. He's going to be up in your face. He's going to be excited and he's going to be all that stuff. But you have to be very genuine in that, because if that's going to be your approach, it better be your approach on minicamp day 1, as it's going to be on the last practice before the Super Bowl in February, right? It cannot be fake. Like, that's a lot of the thing. Not to say anybody is, but you get young coaches in there, and these players see right through it, especially on special teams. And Andrew, to your point, kick or a field goal block or field goal is the perfect example of it. It's so monotonous, right? Inside step, inside hand, inside step, inside hand. You do it 3 million times. And the one time you don't do it, guess what? A cornerback goes around inside you and it's blocked, and you are the scapegoat. You got to do it every single time. So it's attention to detail that I love that you pointed out. But somebody's young, energetic, but is very genuine in his like excitement, if you will.
So I coached a little bit of high school ball, and I've been watching football and covering it for a long time. Are we talking when I hear enthusiasm, like I think of your strength and conditioning coach, right? Like that's the guy who's just out there, oh, come on, let's go, and just getting everybody yoked up and stuff. Are we talking strength and conditioning coach level? Or are we talking more so maybe like a defensive coordinator type who can, he's still got he's still being the tactician and all that, but he can still go out there and kind of get out there with the guys.
I think Robert Saleh, like I think he balances it perfectly. Where hey, he's going to dial something up on the whiteboard, and I bet you could get. If you went into the office and did a whiteboard session with Saleh, you'd be like, oh my god, this guy's a genius. He's technical. He's all this stuff. And then when your guy makes a play, guess who's the first one out there? He's headbutting dude. He's like, yeah, like let's go. Like that's the type of coach that I buy in. Like I personally would buy into and like would want to be my guy. Like I want you to be very. I want you to be very smart, very intelligent. And also too, Andrew, like I think that's important for NFL players too. Like they don't care how you handle yourself or how you do your day-to-day business. They want you to be genuine, and they want you to put them in the best position to succeed.
Right.
How can you do that? And if you find a guy that does that and he's a little excitable, great. If you find a guy who's out there just blowing his whistle and punching dudes and like, all right, go run down on this kickoff, and you're like, wait a second, I need a little bit more. I think you lose a little bit what you're looking for in that.
Yeah. I think there's just an element of tactician that maybe, especially nowadays, the way special teams are with the new rules they have with where the ball lands and all that kind of stuff. The fact that you've got guys who can kick field goals from 60 plus nowadays, there's a little bit more strategy involved in special teams. And we've talked about it, how important it is and how the average fan probably doesn't realize that, that 1 point on a blocked field goal could come back to bite you in the ass. And it did for the Packers all last season, or a muffed onside kick return, right? There's just so details, excitability, and I would say you're probably looking for a young coach, right?
Yeah.
You just had Bisaccia, who's 65 years old. Why not troll kind of the underbelly of the NFL coaching zeitgeist and just find a guy that nobody knows about, and let's see what we can do. I like the idea of the league is going younger when it comes to coaching, so why not embrace it? Find that mad scientist type guy who maybe he wants to be an offensive coordinator one day. Mm-hmm. But say, hey, why don't you prove yourself here on special teams? I think that's the way to go.
Definitely, but you got to find a guy that you can trust. Not only do the players trust him, but the coaches trust him as well. Because Packers were the prime example. So were the Rams. So were the 49ers. You have bad special teams, they will come back to bite you in the worst possible times at the worst possible moments. And you start to lose football games like that. After we just had a conversation about Jordan Love being the most, the guy under the most pressure for next year. If he comes in and your kicker misses a kick, or you guys don't cover on the guys don't cover on kickoff return and they give up a touchdown, that's the stuff that derails a season. And it's like you can't have it happen.
That might be the quickest yank in NFL history.
You're out of here, dude.
It'd make Urban Meyer look like he was in Jacksonville for years. All right, let's move on. I'm just gonna say I'm glad I'm not the one making the decision on who that guy's gonna be, because that's a lot of pressure there. I want to talk draft because I think we have an obligation to our fans to talk draft as we head up to the draft. We've talked players a little bit. I want to shift gears with you. And I've got two ideas. One, let's talk draft strategy. Like, what do you prefer to see from your team? Best player available? Do you prefer to see your team pick for the need?
That's such a good question.
And then when you're done, I'm going to switch something on you, and I'm not sure you're ready for it. But let's go first with kind of what do you want, like for the Browns? What do you prefer to see out of the Browns?
Yeah. I prefer to see I don't love the best player available strategy. And I think it's timing, right? So it's like, okay, the Browns specifically, they're at a time in their roster that, hey, they have very specific needs. They need pretty much an entire new offense. All right, you need a new offensive lineman. You need somebody who's going to be there for the future. You need an offensive weapon that's going to be there for 3, 4, 5 years that you can go after. So I think you can be very strategic in, okay, these are the positions we want. Now we're going to go best player available at these certain positions. Okay. That would be my approach. I liken it to never go to the grocery store when you're hungry, right? You go to the grocery store when you're hungry and your cart gets filled with Oreos and Snickers bars and all sorts of stuff. Then you get home and you're like, wait a second, I need like real food. You go to the grocery store with a list in mind and you go and you knock those things out. That's what I liken it to. Now, there's also times when you are a roster that's ready to go, that's ready to win, and you can go best player available. I think, hey, the Kansas City Chiefs at pick number 9. I think the Cincinnati Bengals at pick number 10. Like, they're so close that they could be like, ooh, hey, this is the best player available on the board. He can make us win tomorrow. Take him. Take him, and we can go back to the playoffs tomorrow. So I think that's two separate strategies. To where I'm at personally is make sure you have I want a need. You're drafting for a need, best player available for that specific need.
That's a great combination of two. And I'd imagine most NFL GMs try to put those two together unless they're within the top 3 picks, let's say.
Sure.
You know, like you just take the guy and you take your guy.
So okay, so here's a real conversation that's happening in Browns world right now, and obviously this isn't Browns Roundtable, but Browns have the 6th pick, and there's a world where Carnell Tate, he's kind of the number 1 wide receiver that like Browns Nation is like looking at, like okay, Ohio State receiver, 6'3", like very good, just a very good player.
Ooh.
If he's there, everyone in Cleveland wants to take him. If he gets taken by the Giants 1 pick before, people are like, all right, draft Caleb Downs. Okay, draft Caleb Downs because he's the best, potentially best defender. That would be such a mistake in my mind because Cleveland needs so much on the offensive side. You pick the best player that's on the board, you screw yourself, So like that's like an actual conversation that's happening. And every time I hear it and scroll past it on Twitter, I want to throw my phone through a window and be like, how stupid are you guys when you're speaking like this? But that's I guess that's the world we're living in right
Interesting. So from the Packers perspective, we already talked about it, and I'm going to remind myself and everybody that with their first round pick in the 2026 NFL draft, the Green Bay Packers have selected Micah Parsons out of Penn State via Dallas. Packers have a 2nd round pick. I believe it's number 58 is their first pick in the 2nd round. I believe at least when you move into the 2nd round, that's when there's a conversation you have to have between, do we take a swing on somebody who maybe has high upside, but could be, you could perhaps swing and miss, or do you just go fill your biggest need? This year, I'd like to see the Packers fill their biggest need. They've got a need at corner. I think there's some corners they can go get who could potentially be a CB1. Do you have thoughts on like the 2nd and 3rd round? How do you feel about that area?
That's where those GMs make their money.
Yep.
I think we all can pretty much get the 1st round. You can really understand, all right, this guy's going to go here. Here's your need here, but that's when you're getting into, okay, hey, our let's talk cornerbacks. Hey, our top guy is on the last year of his contract and we can get a guy that maybe needs a year of development, maybe not all the way ready, but by the time it's time to ship off the veteran, we're going to have a guy coming in behind that, or diamond in the rough type stuff. Hey, this one player at UCLA was awesome, rushing the passer. It's a name that maybe many people don't know, but his tape stands out. And you're like, all right, there's your risk. And, that's how you land Puka Nacua in the 5th round, or that's how you get insert whomever, Kareem Hunt, he was a 3rd round pick. Some of these guys that's how you get those because, all right, they had special things on tape. Maybe they played in the MAC. Maybe they played for a bad team, whatever. But you got to identify those. That's where you make your money, and that's how you make your teams, man. And those are the fun rounds.
Yeah, you look at Super Bowl teams, and they've normally hit on picks in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th round.
Seattle, they had that great graphic, right, where the past 3 drafts, all their studs came in rounds 2 through 4. It's like, yeah, okay, yeah, that's great. Players can still be drafted there.
All right, let's take a switch. Here's the curveball for you. I don't know if fantasy football is as big of a thing as it used to be because of betting and all that. And I haven't played fantasy in years, but did you have a preferred drafting method when it came to fantasy football?
Oh,
were you a no running backs guy? I tried that a couple times. Once I tried to load up on all the best tight ends. So I had like Gronkowski and all these guys, and So what are your thoughts on fantasy football draft strategy?
All right, so let's preface this. I'm the worst fantasy football player ever. I'm in my league because it keeps my friends together. I pay $100. I call it a friends fee, just because I'm like, all right, I'm just keeping my friends because that's how we interact. I suck at it. I do running backs early, and then I go as best I can get at wide receiver. My teams are very thin. Like I never have good depth, and I always get screwed when bye weeks start rolling around, and I get one injury and everything goes to shit. If you take advice from me on fantasy football, you need to go to church and talk to God.
So you're not the Matthew Berry of Roundtable Sports. Guys.
No.
Yeah, I stopped playing fantasy because I never won, and I thought to myself, I get paid to watch football and to analyze football, and I can't win 1 week of fantasy football. You know,
it's crazy. Like for example, there's no reason I should have been winning games last year, and it was the 1 week that Brock Bowers had, I think, 50 some points.
Yeah.
And he like won me a game by like 2 points. And I had Amon-Ra on my team, and it was like, all right, it's all a crapshoot. I literally, it's my friend's fee. It keeps me close to my college buddies, and that's why I do it.
Listen, when we get closer to the season, we're going to do a power ranking of the best team names for
I've had a couple of good ones.
We'll circle around to that as we get closer to the season. So
make sure our bosses don't see that show.
All right, talking about games, I do want to play a little bit of a game here with you as we're trying to fill off-season air. So the game is called Matt LaFleur versus blank. Okay, so what I'm going to do, we're going to kind of rapid fire this. We don't need to write the book on it, but I'm just going to name some coaches, and your task is going to be Matt LaFleur versus this person, and who would you choose? Okay.
In a game setting, or hey, I want this person to coach my team.
I want this person to coach my team.
Yeah, got it.
All right. So Matt LaFleur versus Kevin Stefanski.
LaFleur.
Okay. Matt LaFleur versus Ben Johnson.
Ben Johnson.
Okay. Matt LaFleur versus Todd Monken.
Todd Monken.
Wow. Okay. Pause.
No, that's cheating. It's Matt LaFleur. It's Matt.
Okay. If we could be objective about this,
we got to be objective. We got to be objective.
Okay. Matt LaFleur versus Sean Payton. That's a tough one, isn't it?
Okay. Can I ask a qualifier? How many years? Sure. How many years is my contract that I'm giving this person? To a 5-year contract.
5-year contract.
LaFleur.
Okay, and you're trying to get a Super Bowl. That's your goal, right? Okay.
Shoot. I don't know. That's a good one. That's a tough one.
I mean, Peyton has won a Super Bowl, right? He's been to, I think, 2 at least. I don't remember his exact career trajectory, but he's a good offensive mind. Now, all indications are is he's a terrible person to hang out with. So, I don't know if that matters, but okay.
It matters to me, so I'm going LaFleur.
Okay, LaFleur. Matty wins that line. Here's an interesting one in the NFC North. Dan Campbell.
Oh, man. Campbell, question mark? I think.
Could we say they're maybe head and head right now?
I think that they're close to each other. Yeah, I think that they're close. I go Campbell. I can't be on the fence. I'm going Campbell.
They've both had their ups and downs in the rivalry games between the two franchises. I think that there's a lot of question marks right now after this past season for Detroit. If the Lions had made the playoffs again, I think Campbell would be the easy guy. So we'll have to see how he bounces back.
Yep.
All right, let's keep going through the list here. Kind of find a couple. I'm trying to find guys that I know that could be tough. You're a big Clint Kubiak guy, so I'm guessing you're going to go with Clint Kubiak. Yeah.
I don't know, right? Like as it stands right now, I think LaFleur. You think you go with LaFleur, you don't know what Kubiak's going to be. He could be an abject failure. Like I think that's too early to tell.
How about either Harbaugh?
I get Jim and John mixed up. Jim is in L.A. John
Jim's in L.A. with the Chargers right now.
I'm taking LaFleur over Jim and John
Okay.
over LaFleur.
Wow. Okay. So
Yeah.
I think John is the older Harbaugh of the
Yes.
two. So a little bit more maturity maybe is the difference there.
And it seems like Jim is like he's got a couple screws loose. Like it feels like John only has like one screw loose. Like he's a little bit
Yeah.
he's a little bit more normal than Jim is.
They're still pretty damn weird, both of them.
Yeah.
Kevin O'Connell. This is really interesting.
Oh, KOC. Give me K. I think KOC is a wizard. Yeah.
Okay. Kellen Moore.
Man, right now I'm taking Matt LaFleur. Put a pin in this one. Ask me on February 18th, 2027.
Okay.
I think the Saints are going to be good next year. I really do.
I like Kellen Moore. He was a fun quarterback to watch, just as a sidebar. When he was at Boise State.
Oh my God. I don't know if it's something about Boise State, man, but like that dude could spin the rock on the blue field. Everybody wanted to be him. Everyone could relate because he's 5'6". Like
I'm not sure he can grow a beard. He's just like he's a kid out there. But clearly a good offensive mind. All right, let's get a couple more here. Nick Sirianni.
Oh my God, LaFleur. I think Sirianni's a weirdo. And side note, Sirianni went to Mount Union, which was my college rival.
Screw him.
It's screw Mount. Yeah, nothing good.
How about Kyle Shanahan?
Kyle, I think Kyle's a gangster. Like I think Kyle is give me Kyle.
Does he not have the same problem as LaFleur in that can't really get the team to the promised land?
Yeah, I'd say so. I also think that every single year his teams are snake bitten by something. Like I mean, the coaching job he did to get them to the divisional round this year is insane. And so I think it's a little bit of that. I think that you put those two up against each other. Wasn't LaFleur with him in both Cleveland and in Washington?
Yeah, right? they've been coaching together for a long time.
Yeah. I'm taking Shanahan though. I think Shanahan's really good.
Last one here. What are your thoughts on Liam Cohen over in?
Oh my gosh! Wow, fascinating guy, fascinating coach. I think he's a really good coach. Right now, give me LaFleur. I think Cohen's going to be like one of the next ones up. Like I think he's really, really good. I was shocked by it. Not so much of the Duval thing, but like, I just didn't know anything about him. Right? He made Baker Mayfield good in Tampa Bay, and had some good years there. And then he goes and the Jaguars were the number 2 seed. Right? Like that's awesome.
He could not have had a more awkward start though. With that whole Duval. That'll follow him for the rest of his life.
And it'll be cool if he's on the Super Bowl stage hoisting the trophy and they put it on the big screen.
I hope, I hate to see other teams win, but if that was the case, I'd be okay with that. So. Cool. All right. I told you our final topic is going to be kind of a spitball of random stuff. Here it is. Olympics versus CBB.
Whoa, good question.
We're having a tough time in my house, okay, because my wife loves the Olympics, as I've told you before.
Yep.
I don't care as much. And I'm like I said, I'm starting to turn on college basketball. This is the time. Now, we're not yet in March. We're still halfway through February, okay? We're not into the conference championship and the tournaments and all that. And the Olympics only happen once every 4 years. So if I give you a choice between you got a night chilling at home, there's a big college basketball game on, but there's, let's say, USA versus Canada hockey and, luge or some weird, I'm like big USA guy, like USA till I die. The Winter Olympics are tough. Like they're just okay. Side note, you have a family, kids, you got shit going on. I can do both, right? I do. Sure. As a matter of fact, I do both. I have 2 TVs going in my office. That's awesome.
Olympics are on one, college basketball's on the other because, yes, that's what I got going on. The Olympics are tough. I've watched 5 straight nights of figure skating. I'm good on figure skating. I'm good on it. I don't understand skeleton. I don't understand the luge. Cross-country skiing is interesting for 5 seconds of a 30-minute race. The ski, I love the ski stuff. I ski myself, or used to at least.
How about the people who are literally like flying down the ski slope? That's incredible.
It's incredible. And they go like, was it ski jump or long jump or whatever? I think that's really cool. Yeah, I mean, I'm putting the college basketball on.
Okay, all right, we're in the same boat.
I'm putting college basketball. Like, that's what it is. It's what it has to be.
I think that there's nothing more American than starting to feel the turn of spring coming,
Yep.
and the tournament's in the air, and you're gonna try to take off a couple days of work maybe so you could sit. That is primetime USA, man.
Nothing like it, dude. Hey, you got St. Patty's Day around the corner.
Oh yeah.
Hey, my golf clubs are right there. They're like screaming my name. It was 50 degrees. Like the snow just melted outside. We got, hey, and by the way, let me tell you something about this college basketball. This year, this tournament's going to be out of control.
Wow.
There's probably, what would you say, 15 teams that like you could say wouldn't shock you if they won the tournament?
Yeah, I have not seen them all. I watched the other night Texas Tech and Arizona. Incredible game, right? But they
Texas
just lost.
Turned it into a freaking alley fight, dude.
Yeah.
And beat the shit out of
They just lost TJ Toppin, unfortunately.
Yep.
Though.
So, I need a life, dude. Jeez,
yeah.
Man, I need a life.
I guess we're in the same boat, but that's. I mean,
Hey, speaking of nothing. Did you see? Speaking of Olympics, today's 3 straight hockey overtime games?
No. Wow.
Quarterfinals. 3 of the 4 games went to overtime. Canada got down to Czech Republic 3-2 with 4 minutes left to go in the game. Score with 90 seconds to go and win in overtime. America was up 1-0 over Sweden. Sweden scored with 90 seconds to go into overtime. And Tyler Hughes, I think's his name, freaking sniper from the point, and just off the left post, ting, into the net. America goes crazy.
That is a wonderful sound, but you also don't know which way it can go, right? You could hit the post and it careens off into the stands.
So, okay, do you get into hockey, like NHL?
So I got into it. So growing up in Detroit, I was a big Red Wings guy, and there was time when they were the shit,
Yeah.
Here a couple years ago, the Blues made a run to the Cup and won it, so that was big. If I can get a team to get invested in, I'll watch it through the thing. But we've talked before, playoff hockey is a wonderful, wonderful thing.
So today, I'm in Cleveland. Cleveland doesn't have an NHL team. I align, if you will, with the Columbus Blue Jackets. I don't get into it. I don't get into it until the playoffs. And if the Blue Jackets are in it, I'm in it. But like today during overtime, I was beside myself. Hockey overtime is the best thing in sports.
Yeah.
It is the most anxious thing in sports. It is totally insane what hockey overtime is.
Yeah. And you know what? Kudos to those guys. You never hear them take a load management day. You never hear those guys are just out there playing, man. And
they're the best. And they can talk shit with the best of them too. I mean, they are.
Maybe we should spin off into a hockey podcast, like two football dudes watching hockey, or something like that.
That would have 0 viewers, except for 2, my dad and your dad.
Yeah, well, that's about the same amount of viewers we have now. So, speaking of our viewers, thanks everybody for being here. I think we've covered a lot today. Talk about having no life. We literally discussed our favorite drafting strategies. So,
hey, it's easy in week 10. It's easy in week 5, week 11. It ain't easy in February. No. This is where you make the money, right?
These are the dog days. Days. But draft is coming. Free agency's right around the corner. I just saw Trey Hendrickson is expected to make like $99 million over 3 years as the top free agent. There's a lot going on. So we'll keep our finger on the pulse of it. In the meantime, we'll bring everybody some cool side topics here or there. So, Anthony, appreciate your time, man. And to all the listeners, the watchers, the viewers, the commenters, the lots of people who've been catching on to this roundtable thing.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. It's awesome watching it grow.
Yeah. Happy to be a part of it. And we'll talk next week.